live as one. Been waiting all my life. Smile whenever I'm near you. Glad whenever I hear you. You're always on my mind. If you love me, yeah, then show me. Could be crazy to be loved by you. Tell me if you can. Oh, my love. You love me. Come on and kiss me. I'll be saying my love for you. Take me by the hand. Been waiting all my life. Smile whenever I'm near you.
All right, we're gonna start.
Glad whenever I hear you. Always on my mind. Shivers down my spine. Never gonna get weary. Hope you're gonna get ready. I
Good
keep
morning,
on
everybody.
waiting and waiting. I've been waiting for you. Never gonna surrender. We will be together. Yeah, 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 yeah.
All right, good morning. God bless you guys and the little chairman in here. Good morning. It is what is this? Motivational Monday. Monday, August the 15th already, man. 12 minutes after the hour. Welcome. Shawn Harvey Morning Show, Wake Up Team, only place on earth where you get your morning started right. Chat rooms wide open, or please call in 570-982-6950. Broadcasting live, iHeartRadio, radio.com. Thank God for those folks over there, distributed by Comedy World Network. Thank you so much for you guys over there on the other side of the country for running everything over here. Special shout out to DJ Ron for running the board as well. Special shout out to all our affiliates out there throughout the country. Thank you so much. We appreciate you guys on this glorious Monday morning, Motivational Monday. Thank you so much for tuning in. You could Google the Shawn Harvey Morning Show, Wake Up Team. All the links come up. Easy show to find, thank God. In the age that we live in today, you know, everything is just fast tracked. Everything's instant. All you do is just type in the name and bop, everything comes up. Pause. Also, we're on YouTube this morning, guys. Go to our YouTube page. And this is for the new listeners. I know our veteran listeners. Yeah, Shawn, there you go again. But, you know, I have to say these things each and every day for our new listeners, because we have so many new listeners each and every morning. And God bless. We're YouTube. Like our page, subscribe to it, and you get notified when we go live. We're on all social media platforms, all of them. There's some social media platforms that we're on that I don't even know the names of the social media platforms, and we're on those as well. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all that. We're on all that, so you can easily find the show. And right now we're on Facebook this morning. So just what do you do? You type in the Shawn Harvey Morning Show, you like the page, you like the business page, you invite yourself to the group page, and you get notified when we go live after 7 a.m. Our schedule this week, we're here Monday, Tuesday, not Wednesday, and we'll be here Thursday, Friday. So we're super excited about that. And join our group, Shawn Harvey Morning Show, featuring the Wake Up Team group. You know the deal. You know the deal over there. Thanks, guys, for posting all your interesting videos over there. We truly appreciate you. And if you want to find me personally, it's comedian Shawn Harvey on Facebook. Shawn Harvey on Facebook, Shawn Harvey Morning Show on TikTok, and also Hard Funny on Instagram. Okay, so this is where you get your morning love, but most importantly, only place on earth where you get your morning started right. Okay, so currently right now in Bethlehem area, we broadcast in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, northeastern Pennsylvania, about 90 miles east of New York, I believe, right? If you're going east, yeah. So if you're going east, we're about 90 miles that way, going to New York, and we're about 35 miles north of the Poconos, and we're about maybe 100 and something miles south of Philadelphia. So we're right there in the middle of I guess everything, I guess, right? So, and this is a commuter town. Oh, no, this town, the Bethlehem that we're in, this is a town of natives, and then there's folks that made the transition from the New York, New Jersey area out here to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania to commute back and forth to work. If you do that anymore, you know, the days we live in now, you don't have to do all that commuting. You can actually have your own income, or some people is working from home. And we need to update on that for folks that are working from home. Are you still working from home, or are you back in the office? That's definitely a question that I would like to ask, you know, before we get into this whole thing. If you, you know, because with coronavirus, it was hitting hard. Everybody was home, working from home. Everybody, you know, they mandated folks to go home. Are you still working at home? Put that in the chat room. Put number 1 chat room if you're still working at home. Put a number 2 if you have to go back to the office. That's a very interesting question right now. So that's where we located. 63 degrees this morning. Nice little breeze. I don't know how it goes up to 70, 75 degrees out here. I don't know where it is. Whatever the weather is, call, let us know. No one's never called and said where the weather is. But I want y'all to do it today. Wherever you are right now and you're in that group room or whatever, let me know what the weather is right now in your town location, even though I really don't care. But let's have some fun. Now, before we get into this thing, I want to say this. Like my mother always say, thank God for Jesus. You can call in too. The number's 570-982-6950. It's very interesting. I want to talk about. And it's just the experience that I had. My man just calling in at 7:20. I did a show, and you know, guys, you know me. I'm running around all over the country doing shows, so y'all know that about me. Oh wait, I think. Hold on, guys. I think I left the key in the lock. Hold on. Wait a minute. Yep. I did. I left the office keys in the door, in the cylinder. You ever did that? How many times have you did that? Like, is that a sign that I'm really getting old? That's not the first time I've done that. Have you ever opened up the door or locked the door and left the keys in the cylinder and kept it pushing? When the last time you did that on a motivational Monday? Because I usually put my keys on. I don't mean to switch up the topic real quick, but I usually put my keys on the table. I have a routine, just like everybody else in life. I have a routine. I come here, I take all the keys and throw everything in my pocket. I just throw it right on this table right here when I'm here, and I noticed while I was talking, I said, "Where the keys at?" And immediately I went to the door. The keys are in the cylinder. The last time you guys did that. I've been doing that a lot lately, so I gotta check myself before I wreck myself. Okay, yeah, that's weird, man. No, I'm trying to. I did that like 2 weeks ago. All right, so and by the way, still no sugar, guys. Day 16. Give Harvey a round of applause right now. Day 16, no sugar. Okay. We'll talk about that in a minute too. All right, so on a motivational Monday, guys, I want to say this. I did a show in Detroit, Michigan. Now, some of y'all know, some of you don't know. Who cares? Anyway, I did a show in Detroit, Michigan on Friday, and I want to thank the Washington family for having me out there. There was a private event. It wasn't a comedy. I didn't like a comedy promoter didn't hire me. This was a party promoter who we love and respect out here in the New York area. His name is Steve. We call him Steve Ice. Has a beautiful family. His family originated from South Carolina, just like most of us, and then spread throughout the country, and most of them live in Detroit. And when I tell you that this family came out, and we was just recently on this show talking about family reunions, if you guys can remember, and how we need to bring the family reunion back, or is it ever coming back? Remember we had that conversation? Well, anyway, I went to a real family reunion. I'm going to tell you how real this family reunion is. They took over the whole hotel, literally 90% of the hotel, and this was a big hotel. It was about 300 of these family members there, kids and the elders and the middle age and the younger folks and the adults. I couldn't believe like what I saw as far as the families were connecting with each other. And the interesting thing about this, and I don't want to jump ahead of myself, But to have an event like this, of course, obviously, they had a committee. And it fascinates me because I know Senny was talking about back in the day that family members, they canceled. I know you guys remember that? They canceled the family reunion because two of the family members started arguing with each other, and that was over with. And that was unfortunate. But in this particular case, this was a well-organized run machine. And my man Steve was like, yo, we're going to bring comedy. We're going to have parties out there. And I'm like, at the family reunion? I know it sounds like it's a normal activity with a family reunion. But I'm like, he brought like a real comedy show. He had Omar Thompson was the host. I was the feature actor. My man Howie Bell was the closing act and he lives in Detroit. He had Super Rockin' E-Chem play the music all weekend. So I was like, okay. He got the plane tickets, flew us out. I said, okay, they got some money. Gave me a deposit that day. And next thing you know, I'm in Detroit. And Detroit, I don't know if you ever been, put it up if you've ever been to Detroit. I flew out of Newark Airport to Detroit, and I swear that flight was literally an hour and 10 minutes. And then I thought to myself, I said, it's no big deal, Detroit. I've been here 1,000 times. Come to find out, I've never been to Detroit, Michigan. And the only reason why I said I've been to Detroit already is because I went to 95% of these cities in this country, but I've never I only stayed there for 24 hours because I would literally fly there, go to the hotel, do the show, go back to the hotel, fly back home. That's my life. So, of course, I would think, yeah, I've been to Detroit. Come to find out, I've never been there. Let me tell you something. Detroit gets a bad rap, man. It's like Philly and New York, a lot of shooting, a lot of that's going on. But Detroit is actually a beautiful place. I'm going to give a round of applause to Detroit. Have you ever been to a location where you thought, this is going to be trash, whatever, let's get out of here, and found yourself having a good time there? Now, let me tell you how well organized this event was. This family reunion. Black folks. And they had some white folks in their family too. I mean, straight white folks. But you know where that came from. That came from the slave owners. That came from the original Washingtons. Shout out to the Washington families. They had buses going to, let me tell you something, man. I am thoroughly impressed over the accounting and the way that they ran this family reunion. They had a bus out there because they had a tour to the Motown Museum, Hitsville, USA, Barry Gordy Boulevard, and they left on time. So we flew in a Friday morning. We get to the hotel, 11 o'clock. I didn't really get a chance to change my clothes, whatever. Next thing you know, there's a bus outside. There's a family member, checklisting everybody out because they don't want nobody missing. Wow. On a motivational Monday. Shout out to the Washington family. I've never done anything like this, almost 300 of them. And when I tell you they took over the hotel, it was a big hotel, pause. And the promoter goes, yo, listen, man, you the comedians, DJ, y'all come on, y'all coming to the museum. So I go, whoa, wait a minute, what about your family, bro? Don't worry about it, man. Like, I'm used to just staying in the hotel room, like sort of like a baseball pitcher in the bullpen, ready to be called to go get into the game. Like I'm one of those guys. Just like when we went to Antigua, I didn't leave the resort. Everybody else went out there and almost died. And he goes, no. You're getting on the bus and you're going to the Motown Museum down on Grand Boulevard or wherever it was in the west side of Detroit. I said, all right. I'm tired, bro, but come on. And then I thought to myself, because Omar, the comedian, goes, yo, bro, we got to go, man. We got to absorb this history. And let me tell you something. I am so grateful to comedian Omar Thomas because he was the one that said and convinced me, let's go. And I said, let's get on this bus. And we got on an old school Rosa Parks kind of a bus, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. And then we wind up going to the Hitsville Museum, Motown Museum, Hitsville, USA. If you go on my Facebook page, Shawn Harvey, I put their live video up. But once we got there, of course, you can't put live video up when you're doing the tour, so I cut the phone off. And they shared the history of Motown. Let me tell you something that fascinated me about this throughout this whole weekend and carried it onto my mind this morning. Barry Gordy, who you guys know, you guys heard of Barry Gordy. What's up, brother? The construction workers are outside waving at me. They out there they're doing something to the street. We all heard of Barry Gordy. We know that he's the legendary owner of Motown, and Motown has several other record labels to go with it. And his story, which I really didn't know his story, we found out more about a man, his journey to his empire with Motown. First of all, I thought he was dead. I'm sorry. I thought Barry. I swear. I thought. You know how you think somebody's dead and they're still alive? I thought Barry Gordy is 92 years old, right? He's 92 years old. He retired 2 years ago at 90. Boy, you don't want to let go of that power. That's a lot of power to have. Imagine you running Motown Records and all the publishing with it. But here's the fascinating part, and then we'll move on. You could call in 570-982-6950. Barry Gordy, mother and father were one of the first black business owners in the city of Detroit. They were thriving business owners in Detroit. The father owned several stores. The mother was... This is a black woman in the 20s. His mother was a real estate agent, and she owned a store. A black woman in the 1920s in the Midwest, a real estate agent? And they had all these businesses. And Barry Gordy, he went to the Army, he did a lot of things. He came out and he had two businesses that failed, right? And, he lived around, I guess you guys know this part of the Barry Gordy story. All the Supremes and the Temptations of the world and the Four Tops and all these guys, they all came from Detroit. They all lived around the corner. Sort of like hip-hop in the Bronx. Y'all keep saying hip-hop didn't start in the Bronx. It did start in the Bronx. The Funky Four, Grandmaster Caz. And shout out to happy birthday to hip-hop. Last week it was 49 years. Grandmaster Caz, Kool Herc, and all these guys. It all started in the Bronx. The Motown sound started in Detroit with these teenagers. And Smokey Robinson, Barry Gordy became a songwriter. And he wrote a song, and the record company paid him $3 for the song. Smokey Robinson said to Barry Gordy, if they paying you $3, you might as well write the songs yourself and get all the money for yourself. And it clicked. But he needed money to start Motown. So guess what he did? He went back to his family, and it goes back to the committee that I was talking about on the Motivational Monday. His family had a committee. He needed $1,000 to start a record company, which God knows what that is the equivalent of today, maybe $100,000. And he went to his family. They all had a committee. He presented his plan. He needed $1,000 to his mom and his dad and to all the other people that are in the business community in his family. And they voted and they rejected him for the $1,000 and they gave him $800. Right? They gave him $800 and a promissory note. And the promissory note contract is in the museum on the tour. And you see it clear as day on the wall. And he had to pay back 8% of it. And he had 1 year to pay the family back $800. Wow. And it's in contract right there. The family loaned him $800. I think it was 6 or 8% interest on loan. He had 1 year to pay it back to start his to finance his record company. And guess what? They gave him the money, and as you know, everything's history. And you know that building that has Hitstown USA? I put it in the page. It's in my. If you go to Shawn Harvey, go to the Shawn Harvey page, you'll see it. You know that famous Hitsville USA building that we all see in Detroit? Which I didn't know. Barry Gordy owns about 6 to 8 other houses on that block that was part of the Motown business. So one house was the studio, the other house was accounting, the other house was for arts and performance, the other house was the executive house, all down this block. But the bigger question is this. We all have struggles lending money to family members. But the way they did it was this was a contract. This was a contract. The mother and the father and everyone in his family, they all pulled their money together. Do we pull our money together? They pulled their money together, which allowed them to reject his $1,000 and give him the $800. And he had a year to pay it back. And it's a big contract. The original contract, it was called a promissory note, was on the wall. And a bunch of them signed it, and he signed it. But what do we call a pool of money this day? Remember we had the Susu? Put a number 1 in the chat room if you remember the Susu. Have you ever been involved in a Susu, guys? Of course, guys. Yes, I'm late already. Have you ever been involved in a Susu? Do you guys have the financial ability for your family to pool together money for you to start a business? Other than, I know you could like go to a bank, you could get a loan from other sources. I get it. But have you ever?
Automated voice messaging system. At the tone, please record your message.
Have you ever been involved in a Susu? Call in 570-982-6950. Now, where does the Susu and the promissory note comes in and with the family? I'll tell you what it was. For me, I thought of Susu because this was something where he received the money from his family. So he didn't go to a bank. I guess back in those days, probably, I'm not going to bet my life on it, but I don't think black banks were lending money to black folks. Depending, maybe a small percentage. But banks don't lend money to black folks today. But to pool your money together to finance or take a vacation, I've been involved in 2 Susus in my lifetime, and I never got paid. Put a number 1 in the chat room if you ever was involved in it. You remember the Susu? Do they still do the Susu? Or do they call it, they probably still do the Susus, but they call it something else. Right. They call it something else. Put a number 1 in the chat room if you've been involved in a Susu. I was in 2 back in the day. Well, so I thought I was going to get that money. And I put that money in for about a month. And the Susu dissolved. Who's in the chat room? I want to know if you've been involved in a susu. The Godfather Solo. Have you ever been involved in that susu? Back in the days, they were popping. And if you have, did you ever get any money from it? John Greer, have you been involved in a susu back in the day? Who invented that? Have you ever got paid? Are you too embarrassed to? Vanetta George, have you ever been involved in a susu? How's that? What's that about? Because that's what this is coming from. Because they pulled their money together. I don't think the Gordy family did a susu. I just think that the mother who, like I said, was a real estate agent and a black woman in the 20s, and the father was a successful businessman. And you could see where he had his business knowledge from his parents, obviously. And they obviously stacked up the bread and financed, his dreams of this Motown empire. And that leads to the next question: if your child came to you and needed a quick $5,000 for a dream, if your child, hold on, Vanetta, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hold on a second. Come on, hold on. If your child needed $5,000, say you had it. Say you had $20,000, but your child needed $20,000 to finance some kind of business or some kind of dream. Would you do it? So, God bless the Gordy family. They gave this man $800, and they gave him a promissory note with interest on it, just like he was taking a loan from a bank. The family gave him the money because it was a bunch of them in a committee. The word of the day is committee. Just shout out to the Washington family reunion who had a committee. And you know what they did? They gave him 1 year to pay back. He asked for $1,000. They said, nah. They took a vote. Nah, but we'll give you $800.
Wow.
And the rest is history. And there's a big promissory note in the museum. They gave him the finance money without going to a bank. Which I don't know why that trickled down into susu. Because I think that's... Because I think people used to try to get finance in that way. Everybody, the ambassador's on the phone, Vanetta George. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. So I was in a susu. Some people call it box money also. Yeah, susu or box money. I was in one long time ago, but I was in one. Got my money and everything. Like, it worked. I was like maybe in my early 20s when I did that.
How many weeks was you on? How many weeks did?
Oh gosh, I don't remember.
It's like a year.
It seemed like forever at the time. I'm not even sure, cause I feel like it was like for a few months. I feel like it was for months. And then I think when I cashed out, because they call them like hands. I can't explain it, but they call them like a hand. I know my hand was and this is like I said, early 20s. Mine was maybe like around 2000 or something like that. And it was just like a way to save money.
But let me tell you something. Every susu well, you know what? And thank God, you really got the money. You might be the first person I know that received the money. Every susu that I've been in, or every susu that I heard about, nobody got the money.
Yeah, see, them people were playing games. We would have been knocking on somebody's door. No, it's usually very organized, and generally, like, you have to kind of know the person who's doing it, because that's what it's based on, right? It's based on trust. It's based on, right, accountability.
Yes.
So, yeah, you definitely can't just blindly go into a susu or box money. And I know some people who have, like, sometimes they take out a couple of hands. Like my friend who went to Costa Rica with me last year, she stayed, like, as soon as her susu ends and she gets her hand, she starts another one. So she's constantly on a revolving susu. So, yeah.
I wouldn't mind, even in my past experiences, with not getting the susu money. Yeah, you're right. It's based on trust and accountability. And I would try it again, but I think that the susu. I think what happens is it gets mismanaged because too many people. I think a susu should be. It shouldn't be a lot of people in the susu. To what they call it to? What's the other term they call
Box
it?
money.
Box money. What's that? That's some West Indian thing.
I think so. I think so. You always put me on side. Yeah, no, I think so. I think that's more like a Caribbean thing. I don't know. Caribbeans say susu also, but I do know they also call it box money.
Would y'all find out? Could y'all find out where the word that term susu came from? If somebody help me out here, I'm by myself.
God. Yeah, I don't know who came up with the word. but
Somebody in the chat room, find out where the hell susu, where that whole originated, where that originated from.
You know, and people would say like, well, oh, you can just put your money in a bank and stuff like that. I think part of the reason was that, yeah, you might have a bank account, but you have that easy accessibility to it. So if you're trying to save money for something and you have money in the bank and whatever, something comes up, you know, a lot of times you can just go and pull it out. But with a susu, you're not, because you're held accountable. And you're not getting your money until your date, till your hand is paid out. So I think that's why a lot of people were drawn to that.
I think it also take a special person to get into a susu. I don't think like if you're financially irresponsible, I don't think a susu is good for you. And my whole thing is there the only vetting process in a susu is just word of mouth from a friend that invites you into the susu. Would that be correct?
Yes, or family, right, or family.
So when you was approached with this, was it just like, okay, did you think about it for a minute and say, you know what, I'm doing this, or did you do your research? How did that work?
No, I didn't think about it. I did it. Like, my sister was already in it, and so I took a hand and I just joined it.
All right.
Yeah, and my sister actually, they had one because I shouldn't say where my sister works at, but they had one at her job that she was managing, and that was like, matter of fact, it was even during the very beginning, because it was from before we had the shutdown, before the pandemic started. It was already started, and it was like kind of finishing up in the beginning of the pandemic, because I remember my sister, she was home, and she was like, some people still haven't, like, she was calling people like, you need to send in your money because just because we home, like the susu still going, that type of thing, you know. But yeah, it's still around.
Are you currently involved in a susu right now?
No, I'm not currently involved in a susu. Maybe I should be, but no, I'm not.
Maybe we should have maybe we should do a Shawn Harvey morning show susu.
I don't know them folks. I don't know about that.
Let me ask you a question. Chat room, let me ask you a question. If we was to do a Shawn Harvey morning show susu, put a number one if you're responsible enough to be involved in it, and put a number two if you're not. Because I think that would be the first question. The first question in a susu is the first question in a susu would be that question. It would be a question of your own personal inventory. Are you able to do it? Not the monetary part of it, but the responsibility part of it.
Both, because the monetary is the main thing. Right?
Yeah, but you could have money and still be irresponsible with it.
Yeah, that's true.
So are you responsible enough? If we did a Shawn Harvey morning show susu, would you be responsible enough to be involved in it? And then the second question is, would you do it?
And don't lie either.
And don't lie. What you saying in the chat room? What we saying? And what would be the proper? What would be the proper amount of participants? Now you've been in a susu. Mm-hmm. What are the proper amount of folks to be in a susu?
I'm not even gonna lie. That I wouldn't know. I'm gonna have to be honest with you because I didn't run it. I was just in it. But for me, I think it depends on the people that you're doing it with. I mean, 20 to maybe 30. Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
But now I have to be honest with you. Now I will be very leery in doing a susu unless I directly knew somebody who had been with this specific person for a long time. And the reason why I say that is because I know a lot of people during like the pandemic, all of these susus was popping up, and people it was getting their money taken. So I would be leery to join one now, because I don't want to have to go knocking on nobody's door. So yeah, I will be leery to do one in this time. Because people get greedy. You know, the people who, manage it or start it up, those people tend to get greedy also. Because it's a lot of money coming into your hand and going out. So I will be very leery to trust anyone post-pandemic with doing a susu personally.
Right. And if we had a Shawn Harvey morning show susu, that would be very public.
Yeah.
That'd be, because a susu would probably be something that you don't want to make it too public, right?
No.
Right. All right.
No. Nobody should know you doing all of that.
Yeah, you know what? So if we was to do a Shawn Harvey morning show susu, nobody would know about it, right? That would be the safe way to do it, right?
Right. It would be on the low.
It would be on the low. All right. So who? Put a number one if you're irresponsible. If you're responsible enough to do this, put a number two if you don't. But my whole thing is this. But why?
You're irresponsible.
Yo. Let me ask you a question. Why would people need to do this when I know you talk about being having accountability, the pressure on yourself, because you got to have your money that week. I get that. But why can't you just save whatever it is, that $25 or $100 that whatever you have to pay into it? Why you just can't simply put that to the side, and then in the same marking period you still have the same amount of money? Why you just can't do that yourself?
You can if you can do that. You get what I'm saying? Everybody can't do that. So that's the purpose. Well, I know in the past, I don't know about now, but that's the purpose of doing a susu. Like my friend, she always has a couple of different susus going so that she looks forward to that lump sum. She knows she's going to get a lump sum a specific time of the year or whatever the situation is. So that's kind of like her savings plan. But again, she's been doing it, for 20-something years. She does this. So she does it with somebody, she knows, she trusts, and all of that, and she's never had an issue.
So, but what's the rules of it? Like, say if something happens. Say something happened if you lose your job, your money. What? It's like life happens. Some unforeseen something happened. And you can't pay into the susu. What happens then? Because that's what happened to me. Like the shit.
I'm trying to remember. I can't remember if you lose. I feel like you don't lose all of your money, but I feel like you don't get the full pot. You get like a smaller percentage, like whatever you put in or something like that. There are rules. I just don't know. Like I can't remember because it's been like I said, so long for me. But I know there are rules regarding that.
Right.
Because it's a commitment. It's you also like a commitment. So you better find your $20 to pay your hand this week,
Yeah, you bet. Yeah. So, and I see Beanie said she got to pay out of $3,000, which is really nice. You could pay a bill or save more, or that's a nice chunk of change. But how long did it take for you to get Beanie? How long did it take for you to get the $3,000? And you know folks that are currently in a susu right now, right?
Yeah. My friend, she's been in the susu, no lie, for like 20 years. Like she just, when she gets her hand, she just goes into another one.
Wow. Huh?
Yeah, and her mom is in it too. So it's like, yeah.
All right. So we're gonna start a susu on the low. Everybody chipping $5 a week. Right. Everybody got to be vetted too. We need to see your credit score. All right. Let's clap. Vanessa, thank you.
All right. You
God
guys
bless.
have a great day.
Now, before I'm gonna take a quick break, but check this out. B-Love's gonna call in. I got a question on a Motivational Monday, and God bless you guys. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. I got a question today, and shout out to Barry Gordy and that whole story, which was very interesting. And it just energized me on my purpose on this earth while I'm here. In Detroit, thank you so much for the love, because you don't think like Detroit, like nobody goes to Detroit to, like, you don't, when you think vacation, you don't think Detroit. At least I don't. Like, where do you vacation in Detroit? There are probably beautiful places out there, but you don't, like, right? You think in the beach, you think in the warm weather, you think someplace exotic, you don't, I don't think Detroit comes into mind. And if you're going to a big city, what you think? You think New York, you think LA, London, you think all these, Paris, you think all these cities. You don't think Detroit. No disrespect to Detroit. But, man, I had such a great time out there and such a beautiful experience. Now, on a Motivational Monday, here we go. Question real quick, and then I think I got to go to the bathroom. We went over this for the new listeners. And shout out to your folks that got the Susu and got paid and you continued being in one. I was in two and they both failed. And so shout out to you guys. So here you go. Question. Motivational Monday. If your wife or your husband dies, would you date the sibling? Okay. So if your wife or your husband dies, or if your boyfriend, your fiance, girlfriend, whatever if you're in a relationship with someone, the title doesn't really mean too much to me. Husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance, whatever, domestic partner, whatever it is, whatever you want to call yourself, because we live in this day, we have we have our own identities today. If hold on. If your wife or husband dies, would you date the sibling? Or if your boyfriend and girlfriend dies, or the partner dies, would you date their sibling? And I know the first reaction is, no, I'm not gonna do that. But there's a lot of folks out there. That start dating the siblings of the deceased. I know at least 3. Throughout my lifetime. You remember, I'm 57 years old, so a lot of this has happened back in the day. If your wife or husband dies, would you date the sibling? I experienced that in my 20s, living in the Bronx. I was on Kelly Street back in the day in the hood. And this dude, man, he was one of those over-the-top, narcissistic kind of personalities. Always, one of those, he was a little narcissistic. One of those flamboyant dudes. He had to, like, remember when the Volkswagen Jetta came out? Y'all remember the Jetta? No, remember when the Volkswagen Jetta came out and it was like a box kind of look, and it hit the streets, and folks in the hood was purchasing the Jetta in the 80s. Put no more in chat room if you remember the Jetta. So this guy, he was flamboyant. He was over the top. He was typical New York City fly guy, because you had that special breed of fly guy in New York City. Welcome to the show, Sean. Everybody, Shawn Harvey Morning Show, Wake Up Team, only place on earth where you get your morning start right. And he was, you know what he looked like? He looked like he resembled you guys remember Al B. Shore? Remember Al B. Shore? Am I going way too far back? He was an Al B. Shore looking neighbor. It almost had the dot. Al B. Shore got that little dot in between the eyebrows. With the curly hair. Remember back in the 80s, light-skinned neighbors was killing it in the 80s. You was light-skinned and you was a man and you had that curly hair and you looked like Al B. Shore. You was out here and you had a Jetta? Y'all Y'all remember these guys, right? Well, we had one on the block. We had our Al B. Shore. Put it up in one chat room if you had your Al B. Shore on the block, the light-skinned fly dude with the nice car, bagged all the ladies. Because if you didn't have an Al B. Shore on your block, I don't know where you living at. I don't know. Especially if you lived in the New York area. But there was Al B. Shores all over the country. And you couldn't tell this guy nothing, boy. He came outside looking like a backup dancer for Heavy D. And, of course, he had the light-skinned bad bitch. You know what I'm talking about, the one that came to the basketball court. She had those jeans on, those Jordache jeans. Remember those? Remember the Jordache jeans, guys? And they were fitting right as a teenager. That ass was popping. But as Ghost would corrected me on Friday, on Thursday, the 5411s, she was cute in the face. And none of us mere mortal guys could never get this chick. But she was friendly. You know what I'm talking about? Her name usually was Pam or Sharon. She was light-skinned too. She was light-skinned as well. And the Al B. Shore neighbor bagged her. And we all, I don't know, this is for me. And we all looked and wondered how they would just strut up and down the block. Matter of fact, my Al B. Shore neighbor, he was the first one I ever saw with a pair of British Walkers on. This was in the 70s, late 70s. And that's when, back in the day, when Luther Vandross was still down with the group Change. Remember that? And, man, he was the cream of the crop. And he used to hang out with his man. His man was a dark-skinned dude with the blowout. You ain't going to believe this. I had a blowout back in the day. I mean, like, now, look, if you look at me now, there's no blowout nowhere around us. Put it in one chat room if you ever had that Al B. Shore light-skinned neighbor that bagged all the chicks that had the Jetta. or a similar car. And he bagged Pam or Sharon, who was the baddest bitch in the 11th grade. By the time I bagged my Sharon, she was like 25. And his man, right? He was the dark-skinned dude with the blowout. Remember the blowouts back in the day? I don't mean to go back in the day. I hate going back in the day. But back in the day they had to blow out. I'm just telling you what this is one of these scenarios. And he was just as fly as this dude was. He had the swag. It was, we were teenagers, but they were older than us. So I looked up to this guy, man. And he had Sharon, Pam, or Cynthia, whatever name was popping in the late 70s and the 80s. And she was, oh my God. Come on, guys, remember, especially for the fellas. Fellas, remember when you was 12 and 13 and you saw Sharon? Sharon was like 19, she was 17. She was like between 17 and 19, and you was 13, and you was looking at her like you knew you couldn't bag this chick, but you wanted her. Even her little sister was like 15, but you couldn't even get nowhere close to the little sister. Hey guys, Ed Lover coming to the Iron Mule Sunday, September the 18th. That ticket is moving fast. I don't know. I might have to add on a second show. This thing's moving fast. And Sharon's sister, remember Sharon was like 19, 20, maybe 17 and 19. Her sister was like between 12 and 15, and she was a younger bad bitch. And you couldn't even talk to her. They had the grease on the face. Well, anyway, unfortunately, the Al B. Shore of the block got killed. Yeah, they smoked him out of here. It was horrific, man. He got into some beef with some other guys, and they killed this guy, and it you know how what death is, sudden death. It rocked the neighborhood, man. It was unbelievable. The neighbors up the block killed our Al B. Shore. Sure did. And it was horrific. And death impacts us more as children, kids, when we young and might die, because we feel like we're gonna live forever. When we 13 to 19, 20, we're gonna live forever. Only old folk die. Hold on a second. If your wife or your husband dies, would you date the sibling? Or if your significant other, domestic partner, your fiance, whatever the title is, if you live together, well, let's throw all that in there. Would you start dating him? Now, I'll be sure. Remember with the Jetta fly ass guy? He's the first one I saw at the British Walks back in the day. Always, just unbelievable that he unfortunately got killed. Right? Shot and killed him. And again, it was horrific, and I know we've all been through that as teenagers. I believe most of us. I mean, I speak for myself, but y'all know what it is. And remember the dark-skinned guy, the other fly guy with the blowout, with the glasses on? He was just as fly as Al B. Shore, where a year later, him and Sharon hooked up. And they fell in love. And I know we talked about this down the road before, I know, but just want to chop it up today about this. And they fell in love with each other. And at first it was really weird. It was weird to us younger folks. It was weird. And they made it public after, of course they made it public. But remember, Al B. Shore, he's on ice right now. He's done. But to me, it seemed like it was nothing wrong. Hold on, guys. Give me a second. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Hold on. To me, it was something that. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning, chat room. Good morning, everybody. God bless. To me, it didn't seem at that time that there was nothing wrong with it. So sometimes we quick to say, no, I wouldn't date the spouse, but sometimes it can happen. Put a number 1 in the chat room. Put a number 1 in the chat room if you ever experienced that. I know we talked about this before, but put a number 1 if you did. I don't know. Or if you know anybody. What is that called? Like sympathy love? I don't know what that's called. Then years later, it happened again. One of the homies got sick and passed away, right? And him and his best buddies, and these two guys were best buddies. He passed away, and then the best buddy started dating the girlfriend. Is it wrong, guys? Let me know. What's your thoughts on this? Have you ever been through that? Do you know anybody? I know 3 people that's done that. And what does it say? What does it say about commitment, about relationships, about the people that you with? Come on now, is my homie waiting for me to die to snatch up on my wife, bro? Why do people, okay, so then the question is, why would people do it? Is it just a familiar place? Is it a comfort zone, knowing that maybe the best friend has the same integrity or the same type of style and qualities that attracted the women to this man, and maybe the best friend has those qualities and she knows this person and she's familiar with him, which makes it an easy transition? Ladies, what is it? And fellas, what is it for us? That we want to tap that ass anyway? Because I'm just guessing. It might be more complex for a woman than it is for a man. I don't know. Now, ask Harvey, would Harvey do? How would Harvey do that? See, on a Motivational Monday, God bless you guys. I'm going to tell you, Harvey's not going to do that. I'm not going to, if my best friend passes away, I'm not dating his wife or his girlfriend and going to a relationship. I'm not doing that. I'll tell you why. It's part of the man code. It's got to be number 5 on the man code. Like, first of all, we already know it's 1 to every 45 women to each man. Men, you have 45 other women to choose from that are single right now. Half this chat room is single right now. So there's plenty of women out there. Why would you want to date? Why would you want to be in a relationship with your best friend's wife or girlfriend? But I do understand it. I'm telling you, it might be a comfort zone. Do you guys know anybody that behaves that way? Do you judge them? Because in the situations with me, with the men who started dating the deceased of their best friend, wife or girlfriend, it didn't disrupt my relationship with them. I thought it was weird. The teenage thing, that was a different perspective on this topic that we talk about. But as an adult, I looked at it in a different way, but it was still the same. I was like, okay, whatever. But I personally wouldn't do it. Because that's up there with the man code. That's dead or alive, bro. You shouldn't be talking to your best friend's wife or girlfriend. You shouldn't do it, even if you passed away. What are you guys' thoughts on that? And have you ever been in that type of situation? I don't know. Especially if the woman is fine or the man is fine. Ladies, what if that happened to you? Say if, God forbid, your best friend passes away, right? And the best friend of the deceased, of your man, starts coming over every night. First, it's a conversation. First, you're talking on the phone. You're crying, funeral. You're going through all the stages of grief, shock of death, and sadness, and disbelief. Shock, disbelief. heavy mourning. You're sad. You're mourning. You try to make a transition into recovering from the grief, and you going through this journey with this person that was the best friend on a motivational Monday. And then, you're always gonna, especially if you, and ladies, what if you're single? Well, obviously you gotta be single. So you're single, and what if like Gerard said, y'all want to come through and we could talk, and you let him in? Ladies, ladies and gentlemen, what part do the women play in this? And then you let them in, and then you grow this bond with each other, and nobody knows this. Is it cheating? What happens? And then all of a sudden, you might have a glass of wine or and then the next thing, one thing leads to another. And now you start making out. How do you feel about that? I'm calling another back. How do you feel about that? I don't know if I'm built for that. I don't know if I'm built for doing that. Ladies, have you ever been in a situation like that, or you know someone that's involved like that?
Good morning.
Vanetta.
Yes. Good morning.
The deceased dies.
Okay.
The husband and wife, one of them, they die. And then the woman or the man starts dating their siblings.
Oh.
The question. What's the question? Vanetta, thank you so much for helping me out.
Okay.
I know you're busy. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Just can you give me a second? If your husband or wife dies, would you date the sibling? So if your girlfriend, boyfriend, let's throw the titles out. Just if you're in a relationship, would you date the sibling? And I was telling the story about when I was a kid. The fly guy on the block, he got killed, and then his best friend started dating the fly chick. But for me, I wouldn't date a man. I wouldn't date my best friend's wife if he passes away. That's just me. But I can see how it happens because they both know each other. Everybody's running in this clique. One of them died, and they have this relationship with each other via the deceased. And they start talking about the old times, the good times, how they met. They're crying with each other. They're at the funeral. Then after that, they're talking, checking on each other. And then the dude or the girl say, hey, listen, let me come over to the crib, assuming everybody's single. Let me come over to the crib. And then they're crying again. And then all of a sudden, they lock lips. Vanetta, I'm going to ask you this question. Do you know anybody that's been in that situation, or have you ever been in that situation? Hello? Okay, I think she went away. Who's been in that situation? Do you know anybody that's been there? Because I've been there twice. But like I said, I wouldn't do it. There's no way in hell that I would date my best friend's wife or girlfriend. I just can't do it. There's no way in hell that I would do that. So put a number 1 chat room if you know somebody. Put a number 2 if you don't. And check this out. Let me take a quick 2-minute break, and I'll be right back. Let's go. it's disconnected. And before I move on to the next thing to talk about, great show today, guys. We appreciate you, and thank you so much, Vanetta. Just real quick. So I've seen this happen 3 times where the best friend dated and fell in love with the deceased husband or wife or girlfriend. I've seen that happen 3 times in my lifetime. Why do you think that? For the obvious reason, I think they're closer because of the death of.
Yes.
But don't you think
say that.
But don't you think it's more than that? Do you think that
I mean, I've heard of this happening, and like you said, I agree that I think it has to do maybe with the death of the person. They grew closer during that mourning process. So I do think that that's possible to happen. You have maybe the best friend consoling the widow or what have you, and trying to get her through that grief. They just kind of maybe look at each other one day, and things happen. So I mean, I can see it happening.
I think that is also because they know the person.
Yes,
I think that the
connection.
man or the woman loves the quality of the person as well, and they know who this person is, the best friend.
Right. Okay.
So when the person dies, they're like, okay, this is a familiar place. I know this person. I know that this person is going to be a loyal person. I was already, they're attracted to him, but respectively. Especially when the person, of course, when the guy was alive, if it's attractive women, they keep their distance. Yo, your lady's fine. That's it. But now you're gone, so that attractiveness is there. They know the person. They see how they grieve. Right. There's the common bond of the death, and it might just seems a normal transition.
Right. And I don't know. It depended on how it came about, right? Depending on how that process came about, I don't think that I would have an issue with that.
Really?
No. Depending on how it came about. Because there's situations where they might have been, giving googly eyes behind the scenes all the time or flirting or something like that. I think that's different. But I think what is genuine, and literally it did not truly begin until after this person passed away, because maybe, in their grief process, this is what happened. I don't see a problem with that. I don't.
Interesting.
Yeah, no,
I don't think I don't think a lot of people see a problem with that, because you don't hear. I mean, it's shocking when you hear that these two people are now dating, but it's like after that initial, like, oh wow, Sharon and Kevin are dating. What's that about? How'd that happen? And then we just kind of move on with our lives. But do you think that it affects the family members? Like mom, dad, or sister, or brother? Like, yo, what's that about?
Of course, because there's going to be resentment. Like, wait a minute, like my son or my brother, whatever's passed away, and now you're taking up with his best friend. I'm sure it would cause issues, but that's why I said depending on how it came about. And I think definitely a conversation should be had. If it got to that point and before they went public, I think out of respect, they should talk to the family.
Yeah, I think that this is a type of relationship where, you know what, Vanetta, you are absolutely right. And then we're going to let you go. And thank you, Vanetta, for helping me today. I appreciate you. You are absolutely right. This, before going public, you have to go on a inter-family tour.
Right.
To let everybody know what this is, and this is how we feel about each other.
Right.
And I think most folks in most normal circumstances would approve of this.
And I guess my question would be, would people's viewpoint on that change if between someone who was married to the person when they passed away, or if it was an ex that passed away and they took up with the best friend? I feel like that would be a little more salacious and scandalous.
If the what? Say that again?
If it was an ex. So let's say my ex passed away. And then I take up with his best friend. I feel like that situation may be a little more salacious and scandalous to people. As opposed to somebody, if I was still married to him and he passed away and I took up with his best friend in my time of grief and consoling.
Right.
So different situations.
Right. That would be kind of messy.
Right.
Yeah, that right. You're absolutely right. It depends on the situation.
Yes.
Like I said for myself, I don't think I would be able to do it because I keep, like the song said, I be looking at my dead homie, and I'm like, bro, I can't do this, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, say I'm kissing up on this woman, and I'm thinking about like, what's that process like? Like, you got to get all that out of your head too,
Right.
especially when y'all start smashing.
Oh God.
And
Hoping
then
his ghost is not standing at the head of the bed. Right.
this is what I'm saying. And you got to get rid of the pictures of the dude. I can't come in there smashing. I can't smash you, and Derek is still there on the counter.
Right.
And then what is?
On the circumstances.
But is it a justification for us, or we rationalize and go, yeah, but Derek would want? I'm just saying Derek. I don't know why. Derek is the dead neighbor.
Right.
Derek would want this. Would do Derek really want this? Derek would want us together.
Right.
Or is it Derek? Or we could already go all the way beyond that and say God want us together. That clears everything up.
Well, that's why I keep saying, because it's a very fragile situation, and to me, it all has to do with how everything played out. I was watching this documentary one time. I don't know if some people probably heard of it. It's called Black Love, and it was a situation on there where a woman was actually she was like a pastor or something, and she was helping this couple because the woman was dying of cancer, and the woman, she had befriended the woman, and the woman who was dying actually told her husband, "This woman would be a good woman for you when I pass away."
What?
And they actually ended up getting together. Yes. So things like this do happen. Like the dying woman actually was like, this whatever, Minister Shirley or whatever, she's a really good woman. We become really good friends. I really think she can help you through this grieving process when I'm no longer here. And I really think she would be a good woman for you. And they ended up getting together.
Wow. See, that goes.
It has to do all with the circumstances.
Right. See, that goes with like, and let me tell you something. I shared this with my wife and that. I said, listen, if I drop dead, and I shared this before, I shared it again. You grieve me for a year, 2, whatever, not a long time, and get your ass out there and go on back out there and start dating.
Right.
That's almost sort of the same.
Generous of you.
Yeah, that's almost sort of the same thing, but this person had she pointed out a person.
Yes.
Now, hey, listen. Now, if that's the case, then you know what it is.
Right.
Like I'm just saying, like I don't want. If my wife said, "I want you to date Maria when I pass away," we listen. We might date before you drop dead.
I can't. That's not the same thing.
But you know what? Do you think that's a form of control that the woman said that you should date my, this particular woman, or do you think that she's doing it?
No, that's actually an unselfish and loving thing to do. If you think about it, why would she want, when people pass away, they're going on, right? We're the ones here left to deal with all those emotions, all of those feelings and stuff like that, all that uncertainty. So that's really unselfish of her. She doesn't want her husband to go through that and go through that alone.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of unselfish.
You know what? That you're right. That is an unselfish act to the maximum, as you say back in the day. And that's actually like really like putting a stamp of approval of being guilt free, because I think there's a little bit of guilt with that. Even if it has this natural process of dating and the person, I think it would be a small amount of guilt there, because you're still you're smashing your dead homie's girlfriend or wife now. But in this particular situation, I think that's how it should be.
Right, and not only that, you have to take the the sexuality out of it, because it's not really about the. You have to take that out of it. You know, it's more on, you know, a mental and emotional thing. Yeah, the physicality comes into it, but that's not the main purpose of that. You know, like you're saying, you know, it's about smashing. You're gonna have a connection with this person, mentally and emotionally.
I think
And
that
that's what's gonna keep you guys together.
I think that it might be a better relationship. And back to the Albie Shore guy who got killed back when I was a teenager, right? The dark skinned dude, the best friend, started dating the girlfriend Sharon, the light skinned chick. They got married and had kids. They went on with their lives. They had a great. I think even to this day they're still together.
Wow.
So you might be right. You might be right. Like it's a whole different connection to the person when the wife or the husband is deceased. In comparison to dating the ex best friend.
And I take up with his best friend, right. Which my ex's best friend could never, but yeah.
Whatever.
No.
All right, thank you, Vanetta. We appreciate you.
Have a great day, guys.
Now, everybody, and thank you for tuning in. We're here today, tomorrow, not Wednesday. We won't be here Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're going to rock and roll, and I appreciate y'all guys rocking with me. All right, so I'm on this Instagram page, and it's called We See You, Karen. Y'all gotta go to this page, man. You know where the Karens are. I mean, I know Karens are played out from back in the day, but this recent Karen, I'll show you the video. I'm gonna play the video. Black man at the airport. Karen, they arguing with each other. Karen pushing him, and he's like, "Yo, don't invade my space." I don't know if you've seen. Here go the video right here. I'm gonna play the video, but this is the video right here. It's we see you, Karen, right? And Karen smacks this black man, and he starts whooping her ass. Who's in the wrong with this? Was Karen in the wrong? Let's listen to this. I'm going to play this real quick. And then we're going to get on out of here. Great show today so far. Hold on, let me. It's some cursing in this, guys. I'm gonna play it from the beginning. Big black man. Him and another black guy got into it. All right, we're gonna listen to this real quick. Right. Now I'm gonna play the beginning. Here's the beginning. She's pushing him. Now a guy. Now he's saying stay out of his.
She's touching me. She's touching me. And I'm telling you, don't put. She can't put her hands on me.
She calls him an effing neighbor. The guy separates them, right? There's a guy gets to the middle of her. She calls him an effing neighbor, white chick, and then smacks him in the face, right? He loses his mind, and he starts running over to her. He grabs her, tackles her to the ground, and then smacks her in the back of the head. And then the other black guy tried to stop him, and they got into a fight. My question is this. If you are disrespectful. My question is this. Who's in the wrong? Okay. Now, I'm not out here, advocating for domestic violence. Okay? You're not going to get that from Harvey. But this woman aggressively was attacking this man. And he said to her, "Get out of my personal space." Here go the video. And she refused to. That's when she smacks him. Look. Look. The guy's separating him. And then she calls him a neighbor and then smacks him. He pushes the other guy out the way and then hits her. And we see a lot of these videos on social media, guys, where, boy, a lot of women, man, y'all just step into these big men and y'all just pushing them and punching. And then the man punch back. I don't advocate any violence, but this woman clearly, first of all, she called him a neighbor, and then smacked him in the face. Oh my God! She calls him a neighbor, and then smacks him in the face. What's that about?
Morning, Shawn Harvey.
Everybody, B Love's on the phone. B.
Morning, guys.
So we watching this video, right, B? And then we're gonna get into all the other. We're going reverse with the topics so you can catch up. And then we're gonna get out of here. Great show today, guys. B, I'm showing them the video that's on my Instagram page of the black man. It's the group is We See You Karen on Facebook, and where white chicks go, acting like Karens.
Right.
And the recent one is Karen is in the airport with this black man, and they're arguing with each other. And he's like, "Yo, get out of my personal space." She's calling him all type of names and pushing him. She's acting like a typical Karen.
Right.
So a guy gets in front of him. One of the airport guys, they actually, it's funny because in the caption it says "fighting at Spirit Airport," as fighting at Spirit.
There you go. Okay. You should have started with that.
Right, of
Go
course.
ahead.
And the guy separates them. Karen's still going off. And when the guy separates them, she goes, "Bye, bye, bye, you effing neighbor," and smacks him.
Wow.
She smacks him while she's standing behind the guy that's separating them.
Wow.
This is a big black dude. He takes the guy that's separating him, throws him out the way, starts running after Karen. He tackles her. They roll around the ground. She gets back up, and he smacks the crap out of him. And then they separate and break him up. And the thing is, and like I said, I'm not advocating no domestic violence here, please. Everybody, be real's on the phone. I mean, B Love's on the phone.
Morning, guys. Morning.
Not Be Real from Cypress Hills. Who I think is, and Princess, I think Cypress Hill is one of the greatest rap groups of all time.
Yes, indeed.
B, who's in the...
Man, listen, she got smacked. Listen, I find it so funny how, people are just out here doing what they want to do, and they expect like no consequences. Like they're just out here doing what they want to do. And at the end of the day, keep your hands to yourself. I don't care if it's not like we're kids. You're a grown woman. You must have wanted to get the smack down. And like, did she really think? You know what I'm saying? That I mean, I don't understand. Who is she to even put her hands on him? So anything after that, I'm sorry, is fair game as far as I'm concerned.
But B, lately in the last couple of years, especially everybody, B Love's on the phone. Wednesday, Instagram. B Love. In the last recent years, we've seen a lot of beatings on social media, and I hate to say that. Now with the domestic violence thing, Harvey's walking away. A lot of women smacking, and not only smacking men, like smacking black men. I don't want to put everybody in the cap. Smacking like young thuggish black dudes that are smoking weed. There's one video out there where this woman, this dude, this young black guy, shout out to my young kings. He's rolling a blunt. B. The girl comes over, smacks the blunt out of his hand, and smacks him.
What?
He just hooked off and punched her right in the jaw and knocked her out.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm just saying, he over there minding his business. What is it your business? Well, let me ask you this. Is it okay for a woman to put her hands on a man? Because my whole thing is everybody should be keeping their hands to themselves. And if you roll up on me and smack a blood out my hand, as much weed costs today, we fighting. I'm just saying, we fighting.
I say this. Back 10 years ago, no, a man should never put his hands on a woman. I would say that. Today, nah. It's I'm sorry. It's men are out here smacking these women. Mm-hmm. And women are sitting there, they fight. But then in the flip side, there's some women beating the crap out of men. But B, the question is, why you women are so gangster these days in the last 3 years? Women are literally smacking men, but when they get smacked back, then it's a problem. B, why are women out here putting their nukes up and smacking men and fighting? What's going on with that?
Because they listen. We grew up in an era where boys were supposed to keep their hands to themselves, and you don't hit women. But we don't live in that same era anymore. Like, everybody's open and fair game. If you put your hands on me, we fight it. I mean, it's just, I don't understand it. I don't understand. And the thing about it that makes it funny is we know we're not going to win. So my whole thing is you're hoping that they're sitting on that you don't hit girls rules. Because we know we're not going to win.
B, I think everybody B-Low's on the phone. I think, and you know, I'm going to just jump out the window with this, and everybody's going to say, Harvey, you know, there you go again. Not, and race has nothing to do with it. I think that women are very angry today.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just think before the women put hands on the man, I think women are upset. Not all women, of course. Let me rephrase that. There's a small percentage of women that are walking around angry.
Yeah.
I mean, angry. Well, B, okay, B, I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna say 10%. 1 out of every 10 women are pissed the F off. B, what's your percentage before we move on with this conversation?
I think probably more like 2 to 3. It's hard out here for women. It's hard. We out here single. We making it happen. Men ain't acting right. Kids ain't acting right. Money ain't acting right. We mad. We mad.
So you saying
I say 3 out of 10.
So you think 30% of women are angry and resent?
I would say 25% of 25. To me, I would say about 25% of women are angry.
Now, I think that they carry this anger, which you explained just now why, relationships, money, kids, whole thing. The social media, especially the social media, they're comparing themselves to. I think that anger just brews up in these women, and then it articulates to putting their hands up. If you was a therapist, how would you deal with this as far as having these women stop being so angry, where they are now putting their hands up and smacking men who are just as angry?
Right. I mean, I have to start there. What is the problem? I would start right there. What is the problem? Because everybody, what people don't understand, Shawn, a lot of people are moving around, walking around in pain. We talk about this all the time. Whether it's mental, physical pain, whatever, emotional pain. And, people just don't, we grew up in a time where we would just suck everything up. And it was just like, just deal with it and put it to the side. And today, people just want to outwardly express how they feel. And I say this all the time. So many people walking around angry and upset. It really messes with your own kind of psyche sometimes, I don't know if you've ever had one of those days where, you walking through maybe the airport or whatever, and you go to get coffee or tea or something, and the person serving you has this negative attitude. And now you have a negative attitude. You know what I'm saying? Like, the hell is wrong with them? The hell are they mad about? So it's just passing it on. And then by the time you get to a situation, you're not even calm anymore. You just react. And I think that people are just walking around here just reacting. I'm like, what the hell is the problem? What would make you want to put your hands on a man? I don't know, man. I don't know, Shawn.
But B, here's the deal, which this is it really fascinates me. We live in a time where information is almost instant. Knowledge is instant. Like, back in the day, you had to go to the library, you had to read books, and blah blah blah.
Right.
You could get all this wealth of information online.
Right.
It's right. It's right. It's right on your phone. It's videos. It's like if you wanted to correct one of your behaviors, you can easily go. You can even go on YouTube. You can go anywhere to find some kind of resources and make phone calls to try to better yourself as far as your behavior, and still knowing that we have all this information that is free. You ain't got to pay a dime for it. Only got to pay for your cell phone bill. We still have this wealth of information, and we still want to knock a neighbor out.
Yeah, because you got to stop to read that information. And who's doing that? It's not even about information. It's about the fact that people have to deal with themselves in terms of how they interact with people. It's conscious today. I'm sure, I mentally wrap my head around dealing with people when I walk out the house. I don't know who I'm going to come across that could be an issue, could have an attitude. It's so crazy. I was in Atlanta recently, and they drive terrible there. And so many times I would find myself getting upset, like road rage, right? Now, everybody in Atlanta, you can carry a weapon. You don't have to do anything special to go buy a gun. You can go buy a gun. You can carry it on you. It's completely legal in Atlanta. Yeah. So that takes road rage to a whole different place for me personally. Right. Because OB that was talking smack in New York, like, beat one. Now I'm like, I'm not saying a word because somebody will attempt to kill you.
Yeah. That's how it is in that's how it is in the state of Pennsylvania. You carry here in Pennsylvania as well. Now I get it, but still, I agree with you in the sense that yes, who has time to take personal inventory of themselves?
Right.
And that's why people who feel bad about themselves hurt other people.
Right.
So yes, it goes before we get to the punch, especially for women who are throwing punches at men. Before that punch, it just led into you not taking personal inventory of yourself and walking around here pissed. B just said 25% of women are angry. I said 10%. B would know better why she's a woman. B, when you deal with angry women, how do you do? How do you deal with that? Do you remove yourself?
I don't, Shawn.
But what about one of your friends, B?
I don't have people like that around me. I just had a conversation with a friend last week. It was one of the hardest conversations I had to have because I never had to tell somebody that their spirit and their energy is just off, like just negative. Right. And I can't be around that. And so, she's a really lovely lady, but it feels like she's like a rain cloud. Like, no lie, anytime you're with her, she's like a rain cloud. So I'm like, I went to go hang out with her the other day or spend some time with her. And even being with her for a few minutes just changed my energy. So I was like, I don't really know how to say this to you, but have you ever thought about like getting a cleanse or a spiritual cleanse or something? Like, she just gave me this look like, what? And I'm like, yeah, clean your energies, your chakras and stuff. Like, I can't be around that. I can't be around that. Fix your chakras, sis. Like, I can't hang out with you if your energy's off. So to your point, I can't be around people like that. And I can't socialize with people like that. I actually stay far away from them. That's just me. Okay,
so I say this, ladies, 5-10 years ago, nope, it's wrong putting hands on you, regardless if you smacked a man. And back in the day, or some certain situations, you smacked a man just let it go, whatever. Now you getting hands back.
Right.
Yo,
you just never know for your hands back. You don't even know if you might get smacked. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't see the whole clip. He initiated or did she pop off?
She initiated the whole thing. And he was trying to tell her, like, yo, get out of my space. Like, basically walk away from me. Walk away. But she was just in her own zone. And she was just had her hands in his face. At one point, she took both her hands, shoved it in his chest, and he was like, get out of my way, get out of it. But you can tell, like, he was ready. Like, there was a point where she should have been like, you know what, let me just leave this dude alone. But she just wouldn't stop. And then when the guy got in front of him, between them, she yells out the neighbor word and smacks him, and that was it. Now,
how would you react if somebody called you a neighbor? Because I'm going to be honest with you. There's just certain, and I know that we're supposed to be bigger than that, and I know we're not supposed to stoop to anybody's level, but there is just certain things that just trigger me, and to see a Karen call somebody a neighbor would have been a whole problem for me. Okay. I mean, and I'm not an angry woman. So you see how something like that can make me angry. How dare you? Like, now I would have been in the airport watching it like, somebody needs to just beat her ass. Just don't touch her, sir. Let's just make this an even fight. Because now they're going to be like, you too big.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Let me think about my answer here. Because this answer is recorded forever. Then down the road, Shawn said he had beat up a white woman. So let me tread lightly with this answer.
My mother said he dated a boxer. She would tag him all the time until he hit her with a frying pan, yo.
Right. Let me tread lightly with this answer. And then, great show, guys. I want to talk about one more thing. We're going to go back to the sibling thing. I want to hear B's opinion on this, and then we out of here. If I'm at an airport and we see you, Karen, is disrespecting me, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to fall back, because the first thing, now I'm not, hold on, it's not finished with I just want to say this clearly. I'm going to answer this. It's going to take, it's like a 3-minute answer. Well, not that long. Karen's cursing me out in the airport, and my first thought is, Shawn, don't go back to the crack days. Leave that alone. But at the same time, I'm going to take personal inventory. Wait, you're a black man. There's a white woman yelling at you in an airport. This is a no-win situation for you as a black man, right? That's going to be my next thought. But I'm going to go back and forth with her. You know, I'll call all type of bitches and all that. I'll do that. But if someone separates us and I see in her eyes as she calls me a neighbor, and that's coming from her great-great-grandfather, and she gives me the open hand Will Smith smack, and I tumble down, I don't know. I gotta react. I don't know. I gotta put my hands on the top of her forehead. I don't know. You can do anything you want. You're not gonna call, man or woman, you're not gonna call me a neighbor and then smack me in my face without me reacting. I'm sorry, man. I think that takes it to a whole nother level, and I think that's why that man tripped out. She called him a neighbor and smacked him. You can't call a black person a neighbor and smack them without them reacting. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see a black man, or you could be a woman. If a white woman smacked a black woman, but called her a neighbor before she smacked, it's over.
She'd have been laid out.
It's over. It's over. That's it. You might could smack me, and I might not react if you don't call me a neighbor.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe they got in front of us, between us, fast enough where I couldn't swing. Okay, fine. But you're not going to call me a neighbor,
right,
and smack me. Nah, it's no way. White man or woman, I'm going to react to it. Mm-hmm. Now, B, before we leave, God bless you, I want to hear your thoughts on this real quick. And special thanks to Vanetta George. We appreciate you, man. Ambassador chat room. If your husband or if your wife or your husband passes away, would you date the sibling? if your husband or wife or girlfriend, boyfriend, domestic partner, whatever, let's throw all those titles out the window. You're in a relationship. If you're in a relationship and your partner dies, would you date the sibling? A lot of us are definitely reacting no, but there's a lot of it that's going on for obvious reasons. B, what is your thoughts on dating the sibling of the deceased? What's that about? Because
Wow.
I told them I shared them a story back in the day. I've been through that 3 times.
Oh
Where,
wow.
well, not me. I mean, I know people who's been in this scenario.
Right.
And one of them, when I was a teenager, I talked about, the Albie Short neighbor got shot and killed. His best friend started dating the girlfriend, and they went on to get married and have kids. And there was another situation with that. I said personally I wouldn't do it because it's a man code situation. Vanetta George said that there was a young lady who even before her death said to the husband, I advocate for you to date my friend. Is it? What's your thoughts on because there's an identification, B.
Right.
There's a common bond, which is the death of the neighbor.
Right.
Have you ever been in a
Yeah.
situation like that, or you know anybody like that in a situation like that?
So I don't. I've never been in a situation. I do know that when my mom passed away, right, not long after she passed away, one of her best friends, we were having like a celebration, like in her name, some kind of memorial, like a month or so later, and her supposed best friend, and I put that in air quotes, came to the house, and she was drinking, and she was like, I don't know, acting a little bit different. And then she kept saying like, because she was saying my stepfather, her and my stepfather were gonna be together, and everybody's just looking at her. Now I hadn't heard anything, but after everyone left, my neighbor came to me. And she was like, "Did you hear what supposedly your mom's best friend said that her and your dad are gonna be together?" And I was like, I didn't hear any of that, right? But I felt a way about it because in my eyes, to answer your question, it's a no. Somebody that is my best friend and has a relationship with my husband or my boyfriend or whatever, that bond comes with a trust. And that trust is that, you know what I'm saying, you guys are not, we know that you're different people, you know what I'm saying, but that bond comes with a trust. And that trust, I don't even look at you that way. If I'm seeing somebody, if you guys are brother, best, you're not even an option. Now, some people may disagree, but for me, the relationship that I have and that has been built came from this. And to me, I'm not interested. Like, I wouldn't do it. And I know that when somebody tried to move in on my dad, supposedly my mother's best friend, I felt the way about it. I just felt it was disrespectful. And I even called her out on it. So I'm not a fan of it. I don't think it's okay. But we happen to live in a society today that doesn't have anything, like no rules apply, Sean. It's like a no holds barred. Whatever I want to do, I'm going to do it. I don't care how other people feel. I don't care, whatever. And I'm just like, it's just a breach of trust for me.
Yo,
for me personally.
so B, you definitely lived through this. And it's a bipolar situation. See, on one end, one of the callers, I think it was Vanetta. Vanetta was like, you know what, sometimes that's okay. It's a transitional situation. I even agreed with her in a sense because of the obviously the common bond of death. I agreed with her, but now you've actually lived through this. And you totally disagree with this. You thought it was this, but B, if so, your mother passed away. May she rest in peace. God bless your mother. Her best friend started a relationship with your stepfather.
So she tried to.
Oh,
she didn't because
tried.
he wasn't interested. And he kind of like had his own code, like, "Oh, that's your mom's best friend." But she attempted it.
Oh.
And I thought it was not cool. This is my mom. Like, she hasn't even passed away yet. Even if you were to develop that kind of situation, let's just say, you know what I'm saying? Because people still stay tight. And maybe down the line, you guys develop that. Maybe it's a little more tolerable to me. But for me, I'm just like, you're my people. You know what I mean? Like, your family. And I know you're not my blood family, but it's just a morals thing. I don't know.
Yo, but then they ask you this, because I think this was my challenge with it. What if, say if this woman wanted to step to your stepfather, that's funny. But this woman, you know her, right? She knows your stepfather. She knows what type of man he is, the way he treated your mother. God bless your mother, right? Maybe that was the attraction to your stepfather, which kind of made sense because this woman knows what type of man your stepfather is. So maybe that was part of the attraction and the comfort zone that I think people start to, they start relating with each other after the person is deceased.
Right.
So you don't think that was a normal reaction for this woman who was your mother's best friend to be attracted to your stepdad?
I don't give a crap if it was normal or not. There's just certain things you don't do, and you don't, after my mother passed away, try to hit on my stepfather. Because here's the thing, the relationship stemmed back, so she knew my mom for over 40 years, 50 years. Like, they were friends since they were teenagers.
Right.
So she's been in my home, like she's been in my parents' home. She's been around us. She's my aunt. You know what I mean? Like, she's like an aunt. I understand the attraction. I just don't agree with, how she tried to approach it. Like I said, even if she was looking at him that way, first of all, give it some time. Like, it wasn't not that long. A, and B, let it get to a place where I can at least see, you know what I'm saying, that you guys are getting to know each other and that something's naturally happening. But
all right, B, let me ask you a question then. What if, I just want to throw a scenario out there. What if the young lady came to you? Because Vanetta we talked about that as well, where if that was the case, that both the mother, the father, the new girl, the girlfriend, the boyfriend, they would go to the family first and discuss this to see if they can get, make this right with the family. What if this young lady would have came to you and said, hey, I love your moms and the whole thing. I'm interested in getting to know your father a little better. I want to date your father. If she came with, in the same period of time, a month or two after, your mom's passed away, like I said, my condolences and God bless your mother. What if she came to you and had that conversation with you? Would you still, how would you react to that?
I think, again, it would have had to have been after, excuse me.
You all right, B?
I'm good.
B, you all right? You got what? You got a little dab of that COVID?
Yeah.
You got some cocoa babies coming out of your mouth? What's wrong?
It's come and gone. Sorry, went down the wrong pipe.
Whoa, put a pause on that. When I was dating a relationship 18, well, a lot of that stuff was going down the wrong pipe as well. Okay, continue.
Anyway, I think it would have taken a certain amount of time. Because, again, I always looked at her as an aunt. So it's almost like my aunt coming to me saying she wanted to be with my stepdad. You know what I mean? It would have to take some time.
But if it had to take time, why does it have to be in your time?
No, it doesn't have to be in my time.
But that's what you're saying. That's what you're saying. You're saying give it more time. But why does it have to be in your time? The thing is, why she's coming to you, regardless of what the time is, and having this conversation.
Right. And I'm saying that the conversation is palatable to me after a certain amount of time.
Right.
Now, that doesn't mean that they're not going to do what they want to do. And that doesn't mean my stepfather might not be in for it. I'm just talking about me, my feelings personally.
Right.
And I don't agree.
Wow.
I don't agree.
All right.
That's just me.
No, I get it. No, I respect your opinion. That's deep. See, and that's the thing. There's two. This is a bipolar situation. There's one way to look at it, and now, in sharing, and thanks for sharing, B. Now it's there's another perspective on this whole situation. Now, before we go, B, do you believe in the susu? Back in the day, did you do the susu back in the day? Vanetta, there's a bunch of folks that do the susu. Have you ever did that?
I've heard of it. I've never done it. No susu for me.
All right. Well, let's clap. B, thank you so much. All right, go clear your throat, B. Jesus Christ. You all right?
Leave me alone, Shawn.
All right. See you tomorrow. All right, everybody, let's clap.
Right,
B love.
have a
God
good
bless.
one. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Bye.
Thank you so much for your. That's the thing I love about this show. Only place on earth where you get your morning started right. The honesty and the transparency. It just helps all of us, man. This is where you get your morning love, and just to have both perspectives on this particular topic was just incredible for me. Thanks, Vanetta Georgia, for calling in and sharing, and thank you, B, for sharing, and thanks for everyone in the chat room. So, look, great show. B, hang up. So, you guys check out B Love every Wednesday on Instagram, 6 o'clock. She has a podcast Instagram show, so y'all check her out. She'll call back in tomorrow. All right, listen, we're gonna talk about football tomorrow. We got a lot to talk about. We are in the building tomorrow. Put a number 1 in the chat room if you enjoyed the show today. Put a number 2 if you didn't. Put a number 1 in the chat room if you enjoyed the show today. Put a number 2 if you didn't. So guys, check us out. It's 2 minutes after 9. I truly appreciate you. We all appreciate you guys so much. Remember, get your Ed Lover tickets ASAP. The ticket is moving fast. That's a Sunday, September the 18th at the IMU, 831 South Delaware Drive, Eastern Pennsylvania. Reach out to me. Reach out to Tamiko if you need the ticket. Ed Lover, the legendary, invades the Lehigh Valley, Eastern Pennsylvania, at the IMU, 831 South Delaware Drive. $25 general admission, VIP $30 for now because the $25 ticket is moving so fast. So I appreciate you guys for your support on that. Only place on earth to get your morning started right. Yo, follow your boy Shawn Harvey on Facebook, comedian Shawn Harvey on Facebook, Harvey on Instagram, Shawn Harvey Morning Show on TikTok. All right, we're going to go back to one of our classics from back in the day. God bless you guys, and we appreciate you. And we are out of here. Let's go, baby. Let's go. We did it.